It was supposed to be the perfect escape. A Caribbean cruise, sun, music, turquoise water, and zero responsibility. I just graduated college, and this was my gift to myself. 7 nights on the sea with nothing but bikinis, cocktails, and freedom. I remember stepping onto the ship for the first time, awed by how massive it was. It was like a floating city. Bars, pools, theaters, even a spa. It felt safe. The first few days were amazing, but there was one guy I noticed more than the others. He wasn't a guest. He was part of the crew. He wore the uniform of one of the ship's maintenance workers, always pushing a cart or carrying supplies. He never approached me directly, but I caught him looking at me. Too long, too often. His stare didn't feel curious. It felt like someone calculating. I tried to ignore it, told myself it was nothing. Maybe he just had one of those faces. On the 5th night, there was a big theme party on the Lido deck. I drank too much, rum punch mostly, and danced until my feet hurt. The ship was docked overnight at a port in St. Thomas, but many guests had stayed on board for the party. Around 2 a.m., I decided to get some air and slipped away from the music. The deck was quiet. I walked along the rail, watching the water reflect the moonlight. It was peaceful until I heard footsteps behind me. Before I could turn, something cold pressed against my back and an arm locked around my waist. A hand clamped over my mouth. I tried to scream. I kicked, clawed, bit. But he was strong. Another man appeared from the shadows. Together, they dragged me toward a stairwell, pulling me below deck. My mind was racing. I was still dizzy from the drinks, but I knew this wasn't a prank. This was real. They didn't speak, just grunted commands to each other. One of them had a radio. I heard it buzz softly as we moved deeper into the ship's corridors. I was hauled down a narrow hallway that reeked of oil and mildew. Then I saw it, an open hatch, a metal ladder leading down the side of the ship. A small boat rocked silently in the water below, tied to the ship's hull. My blood ran cold. They were taking me off the cruise ship. I struggled harder. I scraped my hands raw, trying to grab the door frame. One of them hit me. Not hard enough to knock me out, but hard enough to remind me who was in control. They lowered me into the boat and followed. The motor kicked on, low and quiet. Not the kind of roar you'd expect. My wrists were tied behind my back. My mouth was gagged. The ship lights grew smaller and smaller behind me. Nobody saw me go. The next part is a blur. The boat docked somewhere I didn't recognize. I was taken into a small building with barred windows. I was kept in a room with no lights, no food for days. The only water I got came from a dirty plastic bottle left on the floor. They didn't say much to me, just one phrase, over and over again. Someone's coming for you. Eventually, someone did. A man, wealthy looking, dressed like he didn't belong there. He spoke another language, but I understood what was happening. I wasn't kidnapped randomly. I was being sold. I don't know what changed. Maybe someone got spooked. Maybe they realized I wasn't worth the risk. But 2 nights later, they loaded me into a car, drove me miles away, and left me tied to a pole on the side of a remote road. A truck driver found me the next morning and called the police. When I was finally safe, sitting in a hotel room with FBI agents asking questions, I couldn't stop shaking. They told me that disappearances on cruise ships weren't uncommon. Most people don't realize how easy it is to go missing at sea, and how hard it is to prove anything happened. The cruise company denied responsibility. They claimed their crew logs were clean. No suspects were arrested. They said I must have left the ship during a port stop. But I know the truth. I didn't step off that ship. I was taken. And ever since, I can't look at open water the same way, because I know what it feels like to vanish and watch the lights of safety fade behind you.